Imagine this. A group of billionaires, yes, the kind of people who move markets, shape politics, and quietly control parts of your life you never think about, have made a decision about you. Not about your neighbor, not about your friend, not about a stranger. About you. What decision is that? And why does it matter more than you think? Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share isn't just a theory about power and money. It's about how your future, your choices, and your freedom are being influenced without you even noticing. Think about it. The apps you spend hours scrolling through. The food prices at your local supermarket. The opportunities you think are open to you. Even the way you define success. All of that is influenced by the big players, and whether you like it or not, their decisions about you are already in motion. The billionaire decision. So, what decision have they made about you? It's simple, but dangerous. They've decided you are not a person. You're a consumer. Not a citizen, not a soul with meaning, not someone with infinite value. You are a profile, a data point, a pair of eyes that watches ads, a thumb that scrolls, a wallet that opens. That's it. Their decision is that your identity is tied to what you can give them, not who you actually are. Now, let's pause here. You might think this sounds exaggerated, but look at your life today. When you open a social media app, do you feel like a person being nourished with truth? Or do you feel like an object being harvested for clicks? When you see an ad, is it about what you need? Or is it about what they want you to believe you need? When you work overtime, is it because your job sees you as valuable? Or because they see you as replaceable, as just one more unit in their machine? That's the decision, and if you think it doesn't matter, wait until you see the consequences. Why it matters. Psychologists like Carl Jung and thinkers like Jordan Peterson often talk about meaning. Humans can survive almost anything if life feels meaningful. But when you strip away meaning and replace it with consumption, what happens? You stop being a person who lives. You become a person who just uses. Think about food. In the past, food was family, culture, ritual. Now, it's an industry. It's fast, packaged, and marketed not to feed you, but to addict you. Think about relationships. In the past, relationships were built slowly with community and shared values. Now, dating apps turn love into swiping, almost like shopping. Think about identity. In the past, identity came from family, religion, or community responsibility. Now, it comes from brands, followers, and the products you buy. Do you see the pattern? Every corner of life is being reshaped so that the decision those billionaires made, that you are a consumer first, becomes your reality. Example from everyday life. Here's a small example. You walk into a grocery store. You want to buy bread. You could choose the cheapest loaf, the healthiest loaf, or maybe the one you grew up with. But did you notice how the shelves are arranged? The eye-level bread isn't random. It's paid placement. The one they want you to buy is right where your eyes land. That decision wasn't yours. That was someone else's. Now scale that up. Your newsfeed, your education system, your entertainment, even your political choices. All of them are being curated in ways you don't see. And the scariest part? You feel like you're in control. You feel like you're choosing, but the decision was already made before you ever walked in. The psychology behind it. Why does this work so well? Because people crave shortcuts. Your brain is designed to save energy. You don't want to think too hard about every purchase, every decision, so you accept the path of least resistance. This is where the billionaires thrive. They understand psychology better than most people understand themselves. They invest billions, not in products, but in behavioral science. They know how to keep you hooked, how to keep you buying, how to keep you moving in the direction they want. It's not evil in the cartoon sense. It's not a villain with a cape. It's much colder than that. It's business. And in their business plan, you're not a person, you're a customer. Cultural comparison. Let's compare this to older cultures. In many ancient traditions, wealth was measured not by how much you consumed, but how much you gave. A leader was judged by how well he provided for his people, how much he sacrificed, how he carried responsibility. Today, wealth is measured by net worth, not character, not service, not wisdom, just a number. And when the culture worships numbers, guess what? You too become a number. That's the cultural shift we're living in. And it's dangerous because numbers don't care about you. They don't see your struggles, your growth, your unique potential. They only see data points. But here's where it gets interesting. The same psychology that billionaires use to reduce you to a consumer can also be used by you to break free. Later in this video, I'll share the key shift that can help you take back control. It's not about fighting billionaires directly. You can't. But you can resist being reduced to a consumer. You can build a different kind of life, one based on meaning, responsibility, and strength. Stay with me, because the moment you see this shift, you'll realize they only win if you play their game. And there's another game entirely. Personal comment. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying all billionaires are evil. Some are generous. Some build things that truly help people. But the system they operate in, the one we live in every day, pushes us towards treating us as consumers first. And if you don't wake up to that reality, you'll keep playing your role in their script. When you're on your phone, you're not just relaxing. You're producing value for someone else. Every second of attention is money in their pocket. Now think about education. Instead of being trained to think critically, many schools focus on producing workers, people who fit into the machine. Creativity, independent thought, those are secondary. The main goal is to make sure you can function in an economy that already sees you as a consumer and an employee. Even health is affected. Pharmaceutical ads flood the airwaves, not because health is sacred, but because sickness is profitable. A healthy, independent person is harder to monetize than someone who's constantly dependent on new treatments, new diets, and new supplements. Do you see how deep this goes? It's not just one decision about you, it's a system of decisions, reinforcing each other until you accept them as normal life. The illusion of freedom. Here's the dangerous part. You feel free. You feel like you're making your own decisions. You chose that new phone. You chose that streaming service. You chose that food delivery app. But here's the truth. Did you really choose it, or was it placed in front of you, recommended, advertised, and repeated until it felt like the only option? Real freedom requires awareness. But when you're surrounded by constant noise, freedom becomes an illusion. It feels like choice, but it's really just manipulation at scale. A simple example. Take fast food. Everyone knows it's unhealthy. Everyone knows it leads to problems in the long run. But billions of dollars go into marketing fast food as fun, quick, cheap, and satisfying. So what happens? You're tired after work, you see the ad, you remember the taste, you drive through. Done. You didn't plan it, you didn't weigh the pros and cons, you were nudged into it. Multiply that by 1,000 small choices every week, and suddenly your health, your money, and your time are shaped by people you've never met. Why it's hard to resist? Here's the problem. Resisting isn't easy. You can't just throw away your phone, quit your job, or stop buying food. The system is too deeply woven into modern life. And that's what makes the billionaire decision so powerful. They don't need to force you. They only need to design the environment. Your brain does the rest. This is similar to what psychologists call conditioning. Think of Pavlov's dogs. Ring a bell and the dog salivates. Humans aren't that different. Show us the ad, trigger the craving, and we respond. The more you respond, the more they reinforce it, until it becomes a habit. And once it's a habit, it doesn't feel like control anymore. It feels like you. The cultural shift. Now, let's step back. Why is this happening now and not 200 years ago? In the past, power was visible. Kings, emperors, priests, they controlled you openly. You knew who ruled you. You knew their face. Today, power is hidden. It works through systems. Corporations, algorithms, global markets. You don't see a king, but the control is still there. It's just invisible. And invisible power is harder to resist because you don't even realize you're under it. This cultural shift has changed how we think about ourselves. We're no longer citizens who belong to a community. We're customers. Everything, even politics, is treated like a product to be marketed and sold. A psychological cost. Here's what worries me most. When you accept the role of consumer, you lose something deeper, meaning. Humans need meaning more than money, more than comfort, even more than safety. Without meaning, life becomes unbearable. That's why so many people today feel anxious, depressed, or lost, even when they have all the material comfort in the world. Because material comfort without meaning feels empty. And meaning doesn't come from consumption. Meaning comes from responsibility, from contribution, from growth. So when billionaires decide you are only a consumer, they strip away the very thing you need to thrive as a human being. Cultural comparison. Think of the difference between ancient philosophy and modern advertising. The Stoics in Rome taught discipline, resilience, and virtue. Their focus was on how to live a good life, not on how to consume more. Now compare that to a modern ad campaign. Buy this and you'll be happy. Upgrade now and you'll be respected. Own this product and you'll finally feel complete. One teaches you to find strength within yourself. The other teaches you to depend on something outside of yourself. And when you depend on external things for happiness, you become fragile. The suspense. But here's the twist. You are not powerless in this game. There's a way to push back, not by fighting billionaires head-on, but by making a radical shift in how you see yourself. Later in this video, I'll share a mindset change that can free you from being trapped as a consumer. It's simple, but it changes everything. Stay with me until the end, because once you see it, you'll never look at your own life the same way again. A personal note. I want to pause here and say something personal. When I first started noticing these patterns in my own life, it was uncomfortable. I realized how much of my time was being stolen by things I didn't even care about. Hours spent on social media, money spent on things that didn't last, energy wasted on distractions. And when I looked closer, I saw that it wasn't just bad habits. It was a system that wanted me distracted, tired, and consuming. And the moment I understood that, I felt both angry and motivated. Angry that I was being treated like a product, but motivated to take my identity back. I think you might feel the same when you see it clearly. The setup for what's next. So here's where we are. Billionaires decided you are a consumer, not a person. This decision shapes everything in your daily life. The result is a culture where meaning is lost and distraction is the norm. But here's the question. What can you do about it? That's what we'll explore next. I'll show you how to recognize the traps, how to think differently about yourself, and how to start living in a way that billionaires can't control. Stay with me, because the next part is the turning point. Now, we've reached the most important part. We've a real-life example. Let me share a story. A friend of mine used to spend hours every night scrolling through videos, shopping online, and playing mobile games. He wasn't lazy, he worked hard during the day, but every evening his energy went into consuming. One day, he decided to change. Instead of spending an hour scrolling, he started writing short articles about topics he cared about. At first, no one read them, but after a few months, people started noticing. Now, years later, he's built an entire career from those articles. What changed? He stopped seeing himself as a consumer of entertainment and started seeing himself as a creator of value. That one shift opened doors no billionaire could close. Why this works? Billionaires can only control consumers. They can't control creators. Why? Because creators don't just respond to the system, they shape it. They set their own rules. They add value instead of waiting for it. Think about it. Every product you consume was created by someone who decided not to just sit back and consume. Every movement, every culture, every breakthrough came from people who refused to let others decide their role. You have that same power. The cultural resistance. When you choose to live as a creator, you're resisting more than billionaires. You're resisting an entire culture that wants to make you small. And that resistance is contagious. When one person takes responsibility, others notice. When you live with meaning, you inspire others to do the same. That's how cultural shifts begin. Not with billionaires, but with ordinary people refusing to play along. A suspenseful reminder. Remember at the start I said billionaires had made a decision about you? That decision only holds power if you accept it. If you accept that you're just a consumer, they win. If you reject it and live as a creator, their power over you disappears. The suspense was never about what they decided, it was about what you will decide in return. My personal take. For me, this isn't just theory. I've seen the difference in my own life. When I lived as a consumer, I felt tired, distracted, and empty. The days blurred together. I always wanted more, but nothing ever filled the gap. When I started creating, whether it was writing, building, or even just taking more responsibility in my relationships, life felt heavier, but also richer. The weight of responsibility became the source of meaning. And that's the key. You don't escape the billionaire decision by chasing comfort. You escape by carrying weight, your own weight, the weight of your life, your purpose, your contribution. Final challenge for you. So here's my challenge. Ask yourself right now, am I living as a consumer or as a creator? Look at your last week. How much time did you spend consuming? How much time did you spend creating? Be honest. Then take one small step to shift the balance. Write something, build something, help someone, take responsibility for something that matters. You don't need to change everything overnight, but even one small act of creation puts you on a different path. Conclusion. A group of billionaires may have decided you're just a consumer, but their decision isn't final. The final decision belongs to you. Will you accept the role they've given you, or will you live as a creator, someone who finds meaning in responsibility and freedom in truth? That's the choice, and it starts today. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you feel like you've been living as a consumer, or are you already on the path of a creator? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read every one of them. And if this video gave you something to think about, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Stay with me on this journey because the more we think together, the harder it becomes for anyone, billionaires or not, to control the way we live.